everybody, welcome to another video on my channel, which will basically be sort of a channel update. First of all, I need to apologize. It's been way too long since I made a video. 100 excuses. One of them is it's been really too hot in the attic for me to do any proper modeling, let alone filming, so that's one reason. The other reason is life kind of took over, so I didn't have a lot of time on my hands for modeling. So yeah, things take a bit longer than I had hoped. Some of you may know my school has started. I'm training to become a professional gardener, so I will have less time for modeling the coming years basically, so there will probably be longer intervals between videos anyway, but enough of that. In other news, I finally got my e-models mark, yay! So, yeah, not really interesting. Yeah, I'm basically gonna try and tell you what I did to the Mr. Freedom Gundam I have here. Which I think has come out pretty okay. There's obviously always things you're not happy with in your own builds, but that's what keeps it interesting in my opinion. So let me try and tell you what I did so far. Let's zoom in a bit, if I can remember how this camera works. Yeah, there we are. Ooh, Mr. Angry Dude. So, I can't remember when the last video on this was. I had planned to do several, but I forgot. I've been working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let's just keep it at about 10 models at the same time. So yeah, this has been in a cabinet for a long time, just sitting there staring at me. Didn't really feel like working on this one, so yeah. Anyway, enough of that. I've the words. Please come to me, words. Thank you. So I built it, painted it, and I can't remember which colors I used. I remember some because they're right in front of me. So I used Bloody Red, and this is Game Air by Vallejo, as you can see, Imperial Blue, and Ultramarine Blue, and some sort of light gray, which probably will be silver gray? Maybe? Possibly? I think... I can't remember, sorry. Basic colors, a bit of gold on the fin on his head. That's, I think, about the colors, except for... maybe... did I use this? Nah, I used magnesium, I think. Yeah, I used magnesium for the inner frame metal parts. So once that was dry, I gave it a gloss coat and then put on a gunk wash of Starship Filth and left it to dry for basically 3 months. And when I felt like it, I started weathering this dude further. I did notice the oil paint, the Starship Filth, wasn't completely set. I don't know why, what happened. Usually it takes about 5 days to dry, but it was still soft in bits, not just the parts where it's on really thickly, like in the corners, but also on the legs and the feet. So maybe because it was really warm in here, but I'd expect the warmer the environment is, the sooner the oil in the oil paints will evaporate and the paint will dry. But somehow it was still a bit soft, so yeah, that was a surprise. Anyway, I just carried on weathering the dude. So the first thing I did was use Ultimate Wash Rust. I know they aren't supposed to rust. I've been told by Will and Foxx and Chris, I think, that this is some sort of special armor thing that doesn't rust, but yeah, I felt it had to rust, so I used it. I used this directly on the oil paint. I didn't do a protective coat on the oil paint before I used any of the washes, because I was curious what would happen. And it turned out pretty nice, actually, because the oil paint was still a bit tacky. It kind of blended in with the wash, so I just slapped it on, like that would say, and left it to dry for the bottle says 30 minutes at least, but I didn't have the patience for that, so I waited about 20 minutes, and then the wash is still a bit wet. And I took it off with a dry cotton bud all around, just trying to go down because that's where the water would flow, so kind of tried to hold that thought of natural direction of water, and just took it off to as far as I wanted. And then directly over that I did the same thing with the dark dirt wash. I didn't use a protective coat in between because I wanted the washes to blend into each other a little bit, and it turned out pretty nice, I think. It's my opinion. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more so you can see it's kind of went together like one wash. Excuse me. After that I gave it a matte coat to take off the shine, and I went in with these things, and I need to zoom out. Watercolor pencils. So they're just like coloring pencils, but they've got some water-based paint in them, I think. I'm not sure how they work. Anyway, I used white on all the gray parts, and I used purple on the dark blue parts, and I used red on the red parts, obviously. And what I did was get those out of the way and zoom in again. Boink, knock the camera, yeah! So, there we go. Let me get a pointy thing. Big finger. So all the edges of the panels, I lightly highlighted them with the watercolor pencils in places, not everywhere, but where I felt it should have that accent. I focus. Yes. So I did a little bit of highlighting with those, just to make them look a bit more interesting. So I did that on the whole model, even on the head. And I also used the watercolor pencils to highlight a bit of the chipping as well, in places, not everywhere, just where I felt it was necessary. And because I am filming it, I can't find an example of where I did that, so yeah, you'll just have to believe me that I did that. What else did I do? Not very much. I did some mud on his feet and a little bit on the lower leg, not too much because this thing is apparently huge, so yeah, I wouldn't expect mud to splatter up all the way up to there because it will be like 10 meters or higher into the air. So yeah, I just did some on the feet. I used for the mud, and zoom out a bit again. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's, oh yeah, I also did a bit of streaking with this stuff. And I did that just after the wash and before the matte coat, if I remember correctly. So the mud, I used Vallejo thick mud, which is very thick stuff. It doesn't run. So yeah, I used a short round brush for that, which it was a big brush, but I just cut it down to about this size, so it's a bit stiff now. To just dab it on the feet, on the lowest edges around the feet, and I used some of the splash mud, which is European splash mud by Vallejo, to do the little drops that go up, like when he stamps in the mud, it splashes upward. And to do that I used a very cheap, very stiff brush. This is something you get from yeah, like a pound shop or a euro shop or something. It's a really cheap brush. I just dipped it into the splash mud, and then with my airbrush in an angle I just sprayed on, well, sprayed the mud off the brush onto the model and left that to dry. So that's him done, I think. I could do some more weathering, but I don't think it will come out as it does now. I'm happy with words. So anyway, I'm happy with the way it came out. It's nice and grimy, dirty, damaged, not factory fresh anymore. With all the weathering, some of the decals I had on, which I thought I protected with a clear coat, but apparently it didn't, so it doesn't come out on camera, I think, maybe in this angle. So you can see where the decal is. I may need to touch that up a bit, but this was a very shiny decal with gold letters on it, and those faded off as well. So I'm not, yeah, kind of happy with that. So it's not all the decals that faded, but yeah, most of them did. Anyway, I still need to wait for his wings to dry. I gave those a gunk wash with Starship filth as well. So yeah, they need to dry for at least a week. I did that somewhere this week, so, and I don't have gloves on, so I can't show you. Well, technically I could take a glove, but they're in the back of the room, so again, you'll have to believe me on that one. Anyway, that's the dude. In between things, I also painted up the base. It's a bit big for this zoomage. So I did that. I scribed in some panels and did some riveting just to make it look a bit more interesting, and then I kind of gave it a rusty ship deck look type of idea with some Sponging of chipping and washes and just general stuff. It's been in my cabinet for a long time. I really can't remember exactly what I did on this. Yeah, shame on me. I should have filmed this. I know. I didn't. I forgot. So that's what I did with the Gundam dude. Yay. Okay. So enough of that. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very, very much for watching my video. Come join us in the Model Makers Boom Hut. I shall put the address in the description below. It's a really nice group of modelers of all kinds of levels, all kinds of different subjects. It's a really friendly group. Foxx told you about it a million times, so if you haven't joined us already, please do so. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I would be very happy if you did. And again, thank you for watching. And I'll hope to see you in my next video, whenever that will be. So, bye guys, take care.